We are actioning.
Hey guys, sorry we're a little bit late, but
A little pre-game chat about nothing relevant, and it was great.
well, it's kind of relevant. It's Trekyards business.
Well, not to this man staring at us from, because he's looking at us almost. If you look at in the stream, looking right at your face, past Patrick's bald head.
He is. I'll stare him down.
Right at.
I see you. I see you staring me down, Admiral.
Okay, I think we're just a little bit too loud. I think we're fine now. So Stewart.
Yes.
I'm a
yes.
bit confused because suddenly it's as if season 2 went by the flash. I mean, I just yesterday I thought we were seeing the Irish people. Now here we are deep in Romulan territory. Have I been asleep? Have you been doing? Did you do 13 or 12? Did you do 12 lives yesterday without me? Is that what happened here? Is that Stewart? Over the weekend you just punished the live audience. Is that what happened?
We did a time jump. I invented a time machine, and yeah.
That is an easier explanation, to be fair.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some suggested episodes to kind of get a pre-watch or preamble for Picard that's coming up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Less under 2 weeks now.
Oh.
So there's a few specific episodes we're going to jump around a little bit and talk about. It actually relates to the first super chat, so I'm just going to read it. It's Eugene, 500 rubles.
Welcome.
If these episodes are on suggestion list, who made the list and what's on it? By the way, first thing on my mind when I saw the thumbnail, Loxana's groom looks very different. I don't know. Did this actor play? I don't know. Anyway.
But yes, CBS suggested list, which we're following their advice on this one. They put out about 2 weeks ago, I think. We're not going to do all of them because A, there isn't enough time, and B, some of them are the big hard hitters that part of this review process was actually looking at the evolution of the show. And so while we have seen them all, by looking at them in order in our sort of detailed review, we get a totally different sense than if we just watched random ones. And so I suggested a few that we can do in the list that we can just do that don't really affect the whole. And so we'll have a few in between. But we've all seen Best of Both Worlds and All Good Things enough to know, the plot. So these are kind of just get the subtleties and obviously Romulans are a big thing, Borg are a big thing, Hugh. And I haven't watched Hugh's episodes in a good 10 years, so that will be a definite part. And I think obviously Data and Law, that whole thing is part of the same story in Descent. So I mean that's all going to be relevant. So it's a few. We'll keep up to date, and I've already been building the thumbnails, which is quite strange. Kind of like skip and it's like, when is this? Yeah. Oh, okay, here we go. Find a thumbnail. Weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So anyway, guys, we'll probably just get right into it. It's probably going to be a long one. This one's very wordy. I noticed I was making a lot of notes, and there was only like half hour into it because it's very dense as far as stuff going on. So we should probably just get right into it.
So Stuart, I want to share. Boy, gotta share first.
Well, yes, you share first.
The last bit of wait and then share. Okay.
Yeah. So as you guys know, super chats are great. They help out the channel. Also, Patreon is awesome. If you guys want to help out our Patreon, there's links down below. It all helps out the channel. It helps us out and keeps us making this content for you because we want to do this. We love it. And yeah. So please support us if you can, and check out the links down below. Lots of cool stuff down there. Dan23 at Trekyards. When it comes to reviewing 2-part episodes, will you do it as 2 separate live vids or 1 whole vid? That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer to that, Dan. We'll have to figure that out as we go. Maybe Samuel has a thought on that, but I'll ask him when he's back. So, but yeah. So sorry about jumping around like this, but as a lead up to Picard, I thought this might be a good idea to do, and maybe get a sense of how things tie together. We get a lot of focus on Romulans, Data, and definitely Picard's character in these episodes. So it'll be maybe some foreshadowing a little bit of what might be happening or what might tie into these episodes specifically, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So we have another super chat as well, but I will wait for Sam to get back for that. Patrick shows off his Shakespeare, even appears on his background character in Data's Shakespeare scene. Yes. Yes, he does. Romulans were underutilized. 'Tis a shame. They were a little bit underutilized, maybe. Yeah. You gotta love the Romulan haircut, absolutely. But yeah, guys, feel free to jump in with your thoughts or comments, and super chat's a great way to do that because they get noticed. And like I said, they really help us out because we're definitely in a slump the last like December and January so far. So hopefully it picks up a little bit. And Donnie Pearson is here. He was just over on Rob Burnett's podcast, so he's over here now, which is great. Isn't he the guy from DS9 Duet? I believe so, yes. Yes. I disagree. There are foes in 2 major movies. That also is very true. And we get to see Romulans for the first time. Well, this isn't the first time we've seen Romulans. We saw them in Neutral Zone. First time to really get a feel for them, though, I think. Actually, there was one Galandan Corps, I forget which episode that was, that's mentioned in this episode that happened just prior. So, yeah, we'll get there when we get there as far as that goes. But it is kind of the first deep dive, I guess, into the Romulans. And very well done, I think.
Hello.
Hello.
Shady Shad.
So somebody asked for 2-part episodes if we could do them as one live chat or 2 separate ones. And I don't know the answer to that.
I've done 2 thumbnails. But we did do Farpoint. That's a lot to watch in one go. But that's a great question.
It'll also be a long
very long one.
Live, so we'd probably break it up, to be honest. To be fair, we'll do it last time on Trekyards.
The only one that I know we're doing is Descent, and that is a season end and season start, so functionally it kind of makes sense to get a second of breathe room, because then it's kind of like there was a break of seasons. It wasn't designed to work, maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, and yes, Jarzia points out that yes, we are in the now transitional phase of backgrounds. I stripped down the old background, and this is the first step of the new background, which is the new paper on the walls. Any different? Lack thereof. As you know, I rendered about 60 things as part of a live. I need to fit another live in before the Picard show starts, do another thing with you guys to help sponsor more ships, and then I can put them all out and put them on the background, and I will do that live, I think, the putting on the wall, because that's a celebration of things and bobs. But yes, this is my in-between.
All right, but let's just get into it here. Get this.
Is there any super chats we missed?
We did. We got a Jarzia one.
There you
Just
go.
pulling up my notes first so that I can have them ready. Puts in Jarzia $5. Thank you.
Thank you.
James Sloyan also played Odo's dad, Dr. Mora. That's it. As well as future Alexander and Dr. Jetrell. Yes, you're right. One of the better recurring guest stars in Trek, in my opinion. Yeah, he's got a very distinctive voice and a distinctive, staunchy acting style. But it works.
It's one way of saying it, certainly.
Well, I don't know how else to say it. So.
That's true. So, Stuart, your overall thoughts on Season 3, Episode 10, The Defector? Jumping ahead quite a bit.
Fantastic episode. Definitely the TNG cast has found their marks, their niche. They've got they're now running on all cylinders, I think, at this point. It's kind of not really jarring so much to jump into this one, but
it was a notable difference.
Yeah,
that was kind of an interesting experiment. Actually, jump from mid to mid.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
yeah. So a very good episode. One of the best, as far as I'm concerned, just of all of TNG. This one's very rewatchable and very enjoyable. A lot of cool stuff in it. You see a Romulan scout ship. You see some other ships, which we don't really want to spoil, even though you probably know. But they mess with the size of those ships a little bit in the shots. But anyway, yeah. You want to say something by the looks of it?
Yeah, well, you know what's nice about this one? This is a cheap episode, relatively speaking, right? It's almost entirely conversations inside existing sets. They put the money that they have into rather elaborate space effects, which hold up beautifully, and one digital matte painting a shot. But this is a relatively cheap episode where the acting, the story, the cleverness, that's what pulls it through. And this shows you, you said this is one of the best of TNG. This is a clever episode. And this shows that you don't want the Discovery-esque run-gun shooting where a lot of those just fall horribly flat. This one is better than every episode of Discovery. Every single one, pretty much, like, not even in the same league. And it's just people talking in rooms with very good acting, very good pacing, interesting story, great politics, great... This and it's a very much a moral story, a political story that doesn't, having just watched the last Doctor Who episode, and it's a poor episode in almost every regard, and it hammers home a message at the end with as little subtlety as a child would shout in your face. Similar thing. This one is lovely in its message and its morals and its meaning, and how it tells you things without telling you things, and it this is a best of how to write, and it puts a lot of current things to shame, honestly, because the writing here is just so good. It's honestly shows TV, a lot of TV just was better in the olden days.
Yeah, that's definitely a tale as old as time, told many different ways over many different mediums throughout time. Do you trust your enemy? The whole father not wanting to start another war just for the sake of his children and giving up everything that he knows for that. There's quite a few hard-hitting elements in this, and it's definitely something that stands the test of time. So a great episode, and as I said earlier, definitely very meaty as far as dialogue goes, very dense.
Yes,
a lot going on. So
but also you can summarize the plot in like 10 words almost. I mean, it's devilishly simple.
Yeah.
But there's layers. And one thing that comes across, especially that I knew the episode, but you watch the first scene being like, okay, bit weird, but the Shakespearean nature of this guy's performance continues to evolve as it goes, and you can tell it's a Shakespeare play within the Star Trek world. It has that essence completely, which gives you, like you said, an even further tale as old as time or timeless tale, because it has a certain, out of time feel. Like this would be a good play. Honestly, you can change it in a few ways. You could perform this on stage as a TNG play, and it would work tremendously well. Especially if you have you imagine the Romulan guy having inner monologue scenes where he walks off slightly off stage and talks to the audience, and in a monologue, cut to Picard, and he's having the same struggle. Like this could be a really good play.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd love to see that. Actually, can someone make that, please?
Yeah. There you go. Somebody make that.
Go.
Go. We start off in the holodeck.
Well, speaking of, yes.
And it's a Shakespearean play. I didn't research which one. Henry V or something like that. Jeff Jacobs puts in $2. We got 50 likes and 15 again at 100. Hashtag make Jeff pay. People are going to be mad at me for not knowing the play, but that's okay. It's basically just Data learning.
Hey, they're coming here to know about Trek, not
True.
Shakespeare. It's fine.
True. Data is basically learning about the human condition.
Yeah.
And there's no better way of doing that than embracing Shakespeare. And Picard, or Patrick Stewart is here. He plays one of the guard character. And I swore that the other guy was Jonathan Frakes. It's clearly not, but he looks enough like him. It's probably a stunt double or something. Because, man, I thought it was Jonathan Frakes over all these years. And I'm thinking, no, he didn't shave his beard just for this.
No, it's a fake face.
Facial hair, yeah.
Fake face. Yeah.
But great scene, great play. And
now, why is it a great scene? Because especially to an American audience that are not as Shakespeare is an English thing. We live and breathe this stuff. A lot of people. Americans are not that sort of. Obviously, you're Canadian, but the context is very different.
Worldwide. That's taught in schools in the U.S. and
but
in Canada.
But a lot less. I mean, there's
I
levels of.
That. I wouldn't agree with that. Everybody knows Shakespeare.
Okay.
But yeah, basically the king's walking amongst his men before the huge big battle to kind of get a feel for things. And back then, of course, you didn't have Instagram where you could see what your king necessarily looked like. You'd know what he looked like roughly, but it's easy to blend in with the troops and get a feel for the situation. And he is essentially just getting a feel for what his troops think about what's going to happen. If it's for a noble cause, they'll gladly die for the king. But if the king is going to war for a selfish reason, they're all going to die for nothing and essentially look like fools for following him. That's the summation there. But
summation.
Yeah, good way to get a feel for what your troops are thinking. So,
and again, the context here is a little bit different. Where we're coming into this I'm trying to stay very fresh with my TNG perspective, so I forgot, in a sense, I wasn't thinking about it, that Picard was trying to teach, that came out of nowhere because we haven't got there yet, of Picard teaching Data humanity. That's not a thing in the first 2 seasons. So this is like, oh, that's nice. I like that touch. But it really jarred me, though, in this scene when it suddenly just cuts to Picard, and it's like, oh, but Patrick's already in the scene. That really jarred me, because it's obviously Patrick in makeup. And normally they are in the scenes playing a character. So I was assuming he was in the scene playing a character. I assume he's going to come out of character, as he has before, say, oh, come on, Data! And then he takes a wig, So I was kind of... It's a weird thing, but I guess he just insisted on doing it. Cause I can't imagine... Because I know this is one of Doug Drexler's first big makeups on him. This is one of the ones that got friends with him on. But I can't imagine he must have asked for this, because it adds nothing to the scene for there to be 2 Patrick Stewarts.
Well, he's a Shakespearean actor, so he would relish the chat.
So he asked to do it, because he's not going to do this, because the part's a nothing part, and the makeup is a long time, so he must have just wanted to do it purely because I want to do it. And that's a nice thing. I kind of wish it was more of them 2 sparring in Shakespeare. That's why it's jarring to suddenly cut from Patrick Stewart's face to Patrick Stewart's face. It's like, oh, okay, he's both in it and directing it. Cool.
Yeah.
And doesn't it stuff like green screen, like everything with Picard on it? Like, some of it is, but I'm pretty sure everything with Picard is actually green screen.
Well, it's really well done.
It is.
The lighting is on point, and you can't tell. I never really considered that, but I don't.
Because it's the same shot when it becomes holodecks, or at least that back shot is. But the front shot also looks like green screen to me. So I think it might just be a green screen sequence, because he looks so out of the background. It's weird. But yeah, it's a very odd, good first scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Riker contacts them and says sensors are picking up an unidentified craft in the neutral zone, heading towards Federation space. And so they're heading to the bridge. Then we got a good conversation between him and Data in the hallway. Why should a king wish to be amongst his people? And Picard says, listen to his words, Data. The king wants to share his soldiers' fears and thoughts on the eve of a battle. And the best way to don't just mold your performance after somebody else's. You got to go in and do it yourself, and that really gets you a feel for what the character's saying and the actual human condition. And I love how at the end Data's like, "Can I schedule a performance for the crew?"
Yep.
Let's not rush it, Data.
And it's nice how these things keep coming up. I mean, this is very similar to the not Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes, because in exactly the same way, Data. This is the thing he does. He can't play Data playing thing. He can only play people playing thing. He can't be himself being thing, and he sort of learns that throughout it. But he's still playing a part of playing a part, and that I like that. He can't quite get there. He might be able to learn an instrument, but he can't necessarily play it in the way that anyone can.
Well, when we went through the list of actors he was going to try to study or emulate, they should have thrown Stewart in there. That would have been funny. They have Brandon, or not Brandon Braga, but what's the other? I forget his name. Anyway, he's an actor. They threw him in there, so I love that. But just a little Stewart reference would have been nice.
Yeah, a bit meta. I love this freehand sequence of them walking down the corridor. It's a really good shot that's nice and visceral, and it goes on a long time. And instantly, as soon as we got onto the sets, I thought, first of all, damn, these sets are bright compared to Season 2. Damn, the footage is clean compared to Season 2. And damn, it pops more than Season 2. I was instantly like, shit, that looks really good. Really, really good. Visual quality in this season, miles better. Holy shit. And we saw the difference between Season 1 and Season 2. It went down. But these sets look really good in this episode.
Yeah. So anyway, they get on the bridge, and Outpost 06 confirms their readings. It's a Romulan scout ship. And then the conversation of what's a scout ship doing this close to the neutral zone? Should we issue a warning to withdraw? Open hailing frequencies. No, the Romulans hailing us. And then it's a garbled message because they don't have visual contact yet. He says put it on viewer, but they're not in range yet. I require emergency assistance. I'm being pursued. So that really ramps up for the opening credits, the opening title sequence. Dun, dun, dun. And he's being chased by a Romulan warbird.
Uh-huh. And again, note they got the new season 3 uniforms, and it's amazing how much better they look in them. Again, the contrast from yesterday, pretty much, or basically yesterday for us to this, instantly look a lot better. Just much crisper, cleaner. The losing the neck helped Stewart. The broader shoulders, it just looks a lot better on them. So instantly, just a better, cleaner look. And yeah, instantly though, the VFX you get in this episode, you're already impressed by the motion and the flair by this first shot, and it continues to impress. And that's me saying now, because I've never seen this as a remastered episode, because it's part of the phone doing this, and already quite impressive.
Yeah.
And to it coming out of the tile sequence, these things are actually moving. Like, this is a real chase shot. That looks great. Well done them.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Jarzia throws in $5.
Thank you.
Ron Moore called this the Cuban Missile Crisis in the Neutral Zone. Also, the teaser was supposed to be Data as Holmes, but changed for legal reasons.
Yes. Okay.
That would have been interesting to see how they played that, but that would have been... I didn't know that, so that's cool.
And Holmes wouldn't have paralleled the same things. They managed to write that into some wonderful symmetry. As you can see on the bridge, that guy who has a lot of face expressions throughout the scenes, he kind of likes to act in between everyone else's acting. He's wearing the season 1 and 2, so it's like that he couldn't even stretch the budget for the other guy on the bridge, the other guy in camera.
Well, I mean, if I was going to be in just a scene, I'd do the same thing. I'd be acting between the acting. It's your one shot kind of thing.
But it's just really, I don't know how often this is, but you can see the massive difference. Like, already you can see how his biceps, his man boobs, like they show, whereas the other one is just clean and crisp, and the different form factor is very visible in this episode, which is kind of nice that we're jumping from one to the other. And guys, please do super chat. We rely on them, and 136 people watching, 44 likes. Only a couple of super chats, so please do. Comments, questions, thoughts. Helps out.
And hit like. Anyway, the ship shields are down, and it is in Federation space. So get us within 5 kilometers of the ship. And then he messages down to Geordi, who must be watching what's going on, because right away he knows what the hell he's talking about.
I thought he was going to say, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
But not quite.
Prepare to extend our shields around the Romulan scout ship. Well, sir, at that range, we're not going to take much of a beating. It's like, well, that's fine.
Hell of a risk, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most important thing you have is your shields.
Yeah. But the weapons of the Romulan warbird are fully powered, and then you get a great shot of the 3 ships together, which I guess is 5 kilometers between. It doesn't seem like it. Anyway,
and boy, those windows pop. Like, holy hell, they pop.
Yeah.
I mean, they pop more than the entire ship, pretty much.
Oh, on the warbird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because those windows are very small.
Yeah.
They're popping.
they like it bright.
Yeah. Everyone's on what's it called? Car lights, fog mode. Everyone's on fog illumination. The windows. Yeah. And quick thought. If you go back a few frames to the dude in the bridge, the dude's bridge, is that the shuttle interior? Or just like a generic... Now Brian looks a little less like it, but when I first watched it, I thought, oh, they're just in the Season 2 shuttle. There's the back of this per console in front.
It doesn't look like it, actually. It looks a little different.
Okay.
But, yeah. Interesting, for sure. But then the warbird just withdraws. Turns around and cloaks and withdraws.
It's wonderfully abrupt. Because the fact is they say, you are on our side of the border... because I mean, it is kind of strange how the context changed a bit throughout this episode. That they say we're breaking the treaty by going into the neutral zone, and now here is this. And the entire episode at the end is that they've gone into our space, therefore we can have war. But this ship's gone into Federation space completely, and no one really seems to care. Like, no one mentions this. That they're actually in a fight. They've already broken the treaty to get here, and then double broken it. They kind of gloss over that a little bit, I think. They
do a little bit, yeah. But then the edge of the neutral zone's kind of iffy place at that, whether they say it later, you're dancing on the edge of the neutral zone.
Although it also makes you think that this admiral, who I'm assuming, spoilers, admiral, he can't be that smart, because the neutral zone isn't like one system, you've got to warp through it. And so he had to actively warp across the entire neutral zone. And it's designed to be a buffer, so a long buffer, while being chased. Although that ship was just cloaked most of the time, I guess. So what, was he escaping 99% of the time they decloak when they see the Enterprise? Because he must have thought he was escaping to be so, to be so genuine. Do you think he was just warping safely the entire time, or do you think he thought he was being chased the entire time and just survived like 2 light years?
Very good question that I never really considered. I'm not sure if the Romulan scout ship necessarily has cloak. Don't know if that's ever.
No, I meant
clarified.
the bigger ship cloaked.
Oh,
because they decloaked to attack Enterprise. So
yeah, I kind of get the I kind of get the sense that he took off with the scout ship and they were playing catch up. As we see later, they kind of are playing with him a little bit, but yeah, they're decloaking close to be able to fire at him.
So he thinks he's free and clear until he isn't.
Before he gets to the neutral zone, yeah.
And I'm sure they do have cloak. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a very good scout ship, would it?
That's a good point.
But I love this. I love the CG shot of the ship. This is it's just they impressed me here with their model refinements. Because in season 2, we do not get elaborate model shots ever, ever. I think the last one we got was the probe shot in neutral zone, where it turns around it. That was the last really impressive model shot, and I've already had 3. I'm like, this is a really good model shot.
Yeah, very impressed with the effects for sure. So massive damage to the scout ship. All systems are going offline, including life support. Transporter room, beam the occupant aboard. Sends Riker and Worf down to the transporter room. And yeah,
dum. The shoulder pads materialize.
Yeah. And the first words out of his mouth: "I must see your captain immediately. I have information vital to your survival."
Yeah, this is an episode that it doesn't stop going. It's a very densely paced. Is that worth saying? It starts at a high, but it kind of keeps at the high. Even if it's not an action high, it's a risk high, threat high, dialogue high. It keeps the pace pretty.
Yes.
You can't look away. If you left for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you'd miss something. It's a very,
Yeah. You can't leave the room for this one. But yeah, it does keep that tension up for the first quite a while. Actually, the whole episode is very tension filled. And like I said earlier, it's very dense with dialogue. Making notes for this was a pain. I was hitting pause every couple lines. But much more so than other episodes that we've done so far. I find there's a lot of filler. This one, not so much. This is very much a lot. Everything's important. So then we get to sick bay. Well, first we see a great shot of the scout ship. And I gotta say, the way it floats by the camera, beautifully done.
And it holds up that holds up tremendously well.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. And the Enterprise D looks really good. Again, we've seen the same miniature shots again and again in TNG, and that one of the better looking shots I've seen of it for a bit. Although the back of the nacelle, the model is falling apart a little bit. It's sticking up. It's a little bit embarrassing because you can see it's the 2 little slits. It's both sticking up at the front and the back, and it's just ooh.
Okay.
Awkward.
Yeah.
But it looks great.
It is a cool design. Definitely looks like the front of the shuttle from Airplane 2. It's got the same kind of design as that. No. I've always noticed that.
Yeah, this is the great reused Romulan small ship miniature. I think it's 3 different ships.
Yeah.
This is the best one, easily. Because that head's pretty cool.
Well, we get the next shot is in the conference room.
And boy, how good does that look lighting-wise? They've now got how to light that room. That is all the sets. There's a distinct up here for lighting quality. Yeah.
If you put it side by side with season 1, it's literally night and day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lighting is fantastic now. But we get so there's a Romulan base on Novana 3.
Yep.
Within 48 hours, the reactor core will be online, and you'll have within 2 days you'll have a fleet of Romulan warbirds within striking distance of 15 Federation sectors. And I love how Riker's so the Federation sensors just missed it.
Yep.
And he's well, they might. And then Worf pipes up, "The Federation will not permit that." well, then it's war we're talking about, isn't it? I love how he kind of just slaps Worf down, the Romulan,
Hmm.
disregarding kind of what he says.
Hmm. Which is
Um,
it's a nice gentle meanness throughout the entire thing, but has a nice little payoff as well.
mhm.
Every character has a distinct motivation. It's so clear, you know. Everyone is so in their headspace. It's good.
And Jarzia throws in $5 Canadian.
Thank you.
Ron Jones' score in this episode is one of my favorites from TNG. The chase, the battle, the showdown between Picard and Tomalak, the holodeck scene, all great. Yeah, I noticed the music was quite dynamic, is maybe a good way to put it, in this episode. So.
But also holds up as a quality score. This one, like season 2 again, is a step above. You know, we're not in season 3 yet, but already this is a nice. This could be a, you know, the remastered of the remastered. You know, this is a better show in a lot of ways already.
Yeah. So he says, destroy the base now, and this will all be over. But Picard's like, we'll think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Get to sickbay. And the commander Cital is his name, apparently.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what do you think about how? What do you think about the situation?
Subcommander.
Oh, yeah. Which I like. They clarify. It's like, it's not that important. But what do you think about the
subcommander is just a commander. You'd be like Riker rank.
Yeah.
A commander is a captain.
Yes. But what do you think of the entire situation that he's presenting? The idea that there's this cloaked Romulan base in the neutral zone, relatively close, and that he's bringing them. Like, what did you think, watching it and feeling it and the vibe and?
It's a good question because you're not really sure what the Romulans are capable of. It's something that they would definitely attempt, in my opinion. Great place for a base in the neutral zone because you can really spread out from there and push that neutral zone back and get more 15 sectors, they said, right? So, but at the same time, the Romulans also never really initiate anything, as Data says later.
And that's just foreshadowing, isn't it?
Yeah, but what better way to actually get your opponent to attack first than to kind of overstep the bounds a little bit? They're not in Federation space. They're in the neutral zone. So it very, very much leaves it like you don't know what's going to happen. And that's exactly the point of the episode. I didn't put it past the Romulans to do that, though. I didn't put it past that they were building a base. I remember watching this like early on and thinking that they actually was a base there. So,
I mean, how much do you think he's lying? The gut reaction, even watching it this time, even knowing the answer, watching this one, how much of a vibe is he giving off that he's just that, classic, Romulan, he's here doing a mission, he's lying? Like, how much of or is his sincerity so much like a sarcastic person can sound like he's lying even if he's telling the truth because he's just that sort of person? Like, where is that level, do you think, when we get to this point?
I never thought he was lying, to be honest.
Okay.
It just doesn't come across as that. And I love how later it's like, he's not lying, he's just not telling us everything. He's holding a lot back. Yeah. And Riker pushes him for, fleet information and strengths and all that. It's like something you'd hold back if you don't want to betray your people, but you just want to stop the war. He's just giving what he needs to, but I never got the sense he was ever lying. He seems very adamant that this is a thing. So
yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know which I was gonna think at this moment. I mean, he comes across because this could just be a clever trick. That's what they're like. Yeah. This whole thing, and obviously the deck is stacked further and further against him. I think you are meant to think he's sort of lying, like some level of lying, some level of wrong, because everything suggests not, but he's so adamant. And the actor plays with such sincerity. It's one of those things where it's like there's an episode of another show where the villain comes to you and tells you the truth the entire time. And it's just like, but he's the villain. He's the guy who's been murdering our people for 9 years. Yeah, but every single word is the truth. You still can't believe him. Yeah. But I like the situation. But you said about, once you go into the neutral zone, you can't really take territory in the neutral zone because that's just betraying the treaty, and therefore now you're at war. There isn't a line there. The line is you can't go in it. If you do, grey area, but you shouldn't. You're betraying it, but you just leave, whatever. But as soon as you annex, that's it. Treaty over. You've now got Federation space a bit. Roman says a bit, and then if we see each other, we'll shoot each other.
Yeah, because is very important actually, because if the Federation went in and attacked this base or initiated that first step, it wouldn't be the first step.
Yes, exactly.
It would be like
Yep.
you have an established base there. You obviously wanted war. That was an act of war. You didn't attack us first, but you attacked us first.
Well, that's why Picard. That's why.
By admission.
Until Picard knows, and also we jump a little bit. Until Picard knows there's something to go on, he is bloody resilient. Because once once he knows, then yes, they have all justification. They're in the right to go attack that base, at least to see it. Because then the enemy's doing the first reaction, but he doesn't want to be the first reactor because once you start that, once you throw that rock into the pool, the waves can't be undone. I mean, how many years it take to create the neutral zone? Although it makes me sad that both sides, or assuming the Romulans, are so almost at a fight. Because once you commit to a war, that's a lot of people's deaths. That's a lot of... For what? I mean, the neutral zone was picked because it's not as important space as it could be. All they can... they've got all this territory, as we've done episodes on before. Territory is a big, 360-degree situation. Only one bit of it is on the neutral zone with the Federation. Are you really going to start a war with us just to get that measly space? Is that really worth it? I never got that in this episode. You know what I mean? Why? Why would you even want that war?
Yeah, well, later we see too in different episodes where there's important things in the neutral zone, and it might be beneficial to get in there to get them. So why would you want that war? The only thing I would think is that there's something important on that planet specifically that we don't know about yet. Something like that. And we do get that many times during different episodes in the future of TNG, where there's something important on one of the planets and they need to get in there and stop it, or not allow the other side to get it because it's powerful, whatever.
Well, yeah, and that's almost like I'm trying to stop a war by starting a war by taking the thing that would start a war, but on the other side.
Yeah. So it's hard to. Yeah, if they were actually building a base there, there'd have to be a good reason for it. Like there's something specifically important on that planet.
And also, it feels like if they are, because we're still at the this is a real situation sort of discussions. If they did have this base and they say 48 hours till they attack, like it is like hours. Yeah. So that implies
48 hours till it's activated, until the reactor's up and it's ready to. But yeah.
I mean, but they're ready to what? I mean.
Well, he just said there would be like fleets of Romulan, 2 fleets. Within striking distance of 15 sectors.
So they must be assuming that the ships they have also are enough of a threat to take on the Federation. I mean, they must have, again, in this context of in reality, a lot of ships. Because once you have that first engagement, that is when you take the land. You don't take the land or the space 9 weeks in. They've planned this. The Romans planned things. So that in this context, they must have dozens of ships. And you can only take the Federation off guard once. Yeah.
But then they go down to sickbay.
And oh my god, Crusher reappeared. What the hell? When did she get on board?
Before that, though, hold on.
Crusher's not alive. Sorry, Plasky's on board.
Before that, Riker's going to be taking an away team over to the Scout.
I love this little scene. It's half a scene.
And as they're talking about it, you see the Scout ship just explode outside, and Picard doesn't even he's just like, oh, that's shitty.
Yeah.
And there was no build up. There's no warning from the bridge. Like there's a build up in the ship or something.
Yeah.
You would think there'd be something like that, but
this reminds me of a shot from Stargate SG-1 where the very first big human spaceship is being stolen, is launched. It's this massive hangar. The ship's bigger than Enterprise. It moves up. And it's big and then resonates and it flies away. And all the actors were on this little tiny set on the soundstage and they were told, right, look at the ship leaving. And if you watch all the reactions, they're like... And every single one of them say at conventions, wow, I underacted that. I had no idea. That was a completely terrible moment because no one knew what they were looking at and it was completely... So this is the same thing. It's like, wow, the first Romulan ship we've ever had possibility to have technology with. Damn. Anyway, yeah. I mean, but I agree. There should have been something. It's so abrupt. It's too abrupt. It doesn't play as well as I think they want it to play. Yeah. Like it should have cut to an interior shot of like a beep 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 beep, and then Worf saying, "Sir, Worf to Brit, Worf to Constant. Yes, Worf. What?
Yeah, even just one line, like, "Sir, there's a buildup in the and then it explodes."
Yep. Or like
Perfect.
someone runs in. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit abrupt. But I love the
Uh,
context here. It's like, yeah, we're gonna go send people over to look at that ship. Don't steal anything. Don't where it's banks of anything. No. But if you happen to have the cloaking device on hand, I mean, bring it aboard. Why not? And so yeah, it blows up. I like that.
Well, Tom Xerox 48 puts in $5.
Thank you.
I feel that the Romulans would want war to make sure they are more powerful than the Federation. Very Cold War feel more than with the Klingons. I mean, always have the upper hand and show you're dominant, maybe, but they're very much bide their time. The
Yeah.
Romulans.
If they want a war, they know they're ready for a war, which means there's something else afoot,
Yeah.
And also, people improve their weapon tech in war, so unless they are really far advanced, that would encourage the end. Starfleet's at a time of peace. But once you put on the war footing, they're on the war footing. Yeah, it blows up. Then, oh my God, Stewart! Look who suddenly beamed aboard for one episode. Crusher. That's so weird. Where did Pulaski go, Stewart? This lovely looking lady's back.
Yeah.
What did you think when you first saw Crusher back after not knowing she was back because of Pulaski was on? Weren't you confused?
Well, no, I wasn't.
I forgot.
But before we get to that scene, there is actually some dialogue there that's important.
Okay. Sorry, Stewart. Pulaski's on the ship. Don't worry. I'll do that for a third time when we get there.
All right. Specifically said the Empire knows we would never allow them to build a base in the neutral zone. In their long history, Romulans have rarely attacked first. They prefer to test their enemy's resolve. I think he's a plant to draw us into the neutral zone to make us look like the aggressors. And then the line, it's always a game of chess with them, isn't it? And that's when the explosion happens.
I think that little scene will be the thing that Picard is, referencing.
There's something else later. And he talks to Data and says, keep a record of this so that history will have a dispassionate view of the events that unfold here. Maybe that's why he needs Data. Anyway, but we'll get there.
But it gives us a lot of good context.
But now we're in sickbay, and oh my God, Pulaski's not there. What happened to Pulaski?
Oh look, Stewart. Crusher's back. When did Crusher get back? That must have been very confusing for you, Stewart.
It wasn't.
I actually forgot she was here, so I was like, ah! She's good. Much warmer.
Yes.
Much nicer looking. Much better costume. Fits it better.
Yes.
It's good. Welcome back.
She says, with your metabolism, this will be healed in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So, but goes on to say, he set the auto strike before he left the ship. I'm not a traitor to my people. I came here to stop a war. Then she says her little line about, you'll be fine. And he's like, good thing you know about Romulan medicine. She said, I had a chance to practice recently. The incident in Galandan Core, which is an episode that's just a few before this.
Well, I wish she'd said, and I know a few Vulcans.
Yeah.
Because they're 85% similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would have been. I was expecting that, but obviously that happened too.
Yeah. And then Worf says, well, you seem to know a great deal for a logistics clerk.
Yeah.
And there's some Klingon insults thrown around, and Riker slaps down a Romulan insult, saying, only a Varul would say such things in public. So, snap. Good job, Riker.
Yeah. It's a very characterful scene. It's very small, but it's very characterful. Everyone has something to do here that's very themselves. Even to the point of after Worf leaves, because Riker finds a good reason to get him out of the room, and then guys like, I like that guy, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But I understand him, and he just gives the generic Klingon spiel of who he is. But he's like, I like that guy. He's a good guy.
Then that leads immediately into he's exactly the type that will get us all killed if we aren't careful.
That's such a good like the way that turns is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it shifts on two different dimes. It's so crafted. This episode is crafted, Stewart. This got more drafts than most episodes in season 1 and season 2 put together. You can just tell. It's crafted. And this guy is so impressive in the part. Because it is almost in Convergence, right? There's my fan film one of the characters is very like good and helping everyone, and it's hard to play that in multiple depths because it's just like a good guy. And this guy, everything he's doing is relatively true, except his own identity, and it's for the right reason, and it's positive. But he infuses so much of that more smarmy layeredness to what is ostensibly just I'm a good guy trying to do a good thing right now. But it is very good, and it's deep, and I kind of wish there was almost more internal conflict, because he's obviously conflicted, but I guess at this point he's already fully committed. So at this point, why be conflicted with yourself? Because you've committed. There is no more action you cannot take. Sort of.
Yeah. Then he gets shown to his quarters, and this is the replicator. If you need to contact me, hit this little button on the wall, like the people in the 24th century or the 22nd century that were unfrozen used. Jeff Jacobs puts in $2, 100 likes. Sweet. Again at 150. Hashtag Romulan like spike.
It's true. 156 people watching. Brilliant.
Everybody hit like, and make sure you're subscribed as well.
I mean, I want to see at least 110 likes by the time that I look back.
It'll be easy to do. Come on, guys, you can do it. I love how he asked the replicator for water, and cold gives the Romulan designation for temperature. And it's like this only uses Celsius. Well, water on the cold side of whatever your system is.
It's so well done. It's basically a fluff scene, but it adds a little bit of flavor. And seeing him on his own is important, because he's not angry. He's obviously a little bit fuming, like a little bit, but it's so not boiling over, because he's very logical, like a Romulan is.
I like how he looks around the corner of the just checking out the quarters. Then he sits down and he pulls out the Flotisum chip, which we don't know what it is yet. I was initially, I thought it was like an explosive or something.
Yeah.
But tell me that they didn't search him, or like, that's just dumb. I know that the transporter would have detected any weapons or anything, but usually you see people like, you put them in your own jumpsuit. You have them like, so that you take away their clothes. I mean, they screwed up already with the Klingons, when the two Klingons made that disruptor rifle from their belt buckles and their shoes and stuff. So I mean, learn from your mistakes, guys.
Yes, but there's two instances where this happens, and I can kind of give it a pass on each one. This happens, and also the Kazon guy, almost identical situation. He manages to smuggle a bomb in. But this is a Romulan admiral with extensive knowledge, extensive experience, top of his class, and it's a little biological thing. It's not like a weapon. It's a very specific thing. So I can imagine, out of all the things, of all the places, he would be able to hide it. Like a Romulan would be able to hide that relatively easily. Like they would be able to. I'm sure he might have a little skin pocket or something, like, what I mean? There's something. Well, these are the people that could do it. I buy that without really questioning.
A lot of cyanide pills that like spies and stuff use are actually in false teeth. You like flip open the top and then you can bite down on the pill.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would buy that.
And that's me accepting a little plot thing, but yeah, he's a specialist Romulan guy. Of all the races, you would expect them to be able to do it. I mean, did you think though it was going to be a bomb? I mean, it does play. It had no blinky lights. It had no, it was a bit lackluster as a piece. So you're kind of thinking, what is it? I kind of thought, as my first viewer, I thought it was a computer virus. That's what I thought it was going to be, like a biovirus. Like you just put it on it and it just transmits like a mini USB. Just boop, there's the virus.
I thought, like I said, I thought it was a little explosive or something.
Yeah. Didn't it strike you as odd though that he feels incredibly underwatched?
Yes.
Like surveillancy.
It's that Federation compliancy at this point. Or not compliancy, complacency. They're very much like, we have everything covered. We're good.
But there probably is a slightly different context, though, with someone who's coming to be a friend. You know what I mean? You can tell they treat them a little bit better.
Yeah. And Jeff says he thought it was a tracker, and that's another great... if he needs to be beamed out by the Romulans at some point, that would make sense.
Yep, I buy that. And we get some graphics, and they've really upped their graphic game as well.
Yes.
A legitimate big upgrade. Well done.
Yeah. But no unusual activity in the Novana system. Then he gets a Patrick Stewart. Oh my God, Picard gets a a communique from Starfleet Command, and there's a 2-hour, 22-minute delay message. So that's how long it took the message to get to them at the neutral zone. So,
Stewart, elephant in the room there, but Stewart, if it takes 2 hours to send a signal from Starfleet to the edge of this space, why can they talk real-time communications in Star Trek Discovery season 1, episode 1? Can Michael Burnham's foster dad have real-time hologram communication over the entire distance to the edge of their space?
I'm not even gonna answer that. I'm not gonna give it the satisfaction of me answering that.
I just wish they watched Star Trek before they did it. I mean, this gives it a little bit of tension. There's a time delay. Order delay can mean death. If he's got a hologram in front of it, they could debate it for 20 minutes. I mean, if this was Discovery, he would just sit in the captain's ready room on the sofa. They bring the guy in, and he just talk to him for 20 minutes. That would be the scene. And it's like, okay, great. This adds tension, and it's another reason Discovery cannot exist, because technology doesn't, not so much the visual, which is obviously wrong, but tech is not the same. You cannot retcon this with this, so therefore, you know what I mean? This is Discovery is wrong. It is not.
And Thribbs is saying, wrong. Well, Thribbs is saying the neutral zone isn't that far away from Earth, so the time delay is a bit extreme. It is, but at the same time, it was recorded and sent, so there was time for the recording and the sending of it. I don't think it was broadcast to say it. I think it was a recorded thing, because if you look at the, at the bottom later, it shows when it was recorded, or whatever, and when
here it is,
when it was playing. Yeah. So
I mean, I can buy that anything coded takes time to travel, but you would assume coded is not any more data than a real-time hologram, because a hologram is more data. Yeah. So it's dumb. I love this bit. I love the tension. I love the idea of this. It really adds something, and I kind of wish they played with the time delay more. It's such a small part, but it could have played a bigger part later. You know. Like he said, I can't wait for 4 hours to hear if I can go attack or not. I'm going now. I can't wait for orders. You know, that decision is his and his alone.
Well, the Admiral says they received a protest from the Romulans, as you can imagine, for the return of their defector. We are, of course, ignoring that at the moment. You must decide if he's telling the truth. We want you to proceed along the Federation side of the border to a position relative to Nelvana 3, and just maintain position there. See what you can learn. And so nothing greatly revealed there. It's exactly what you would do in that situation. So.
And Dan23 says an Enterprise able to communicate back home from further away because they left beacons in different places than they can relay signal. But Enterprise didn't go out as far. The NX-01 barely went any distance, and they left so it's not the same. I mean, the neutral zone is very far away, so nowhere near the same distance. And also, 171 people watching, Stewart. That's really good. And just to reiterate, we are doing the set of Picard episodes that CBS recommend. This is the first one. Yay, yay, yay. Keep enjoying.
Yes. In our lead up to Picard series. All right, so we're back on the bridge, and we get a computer display. The scout ship actually slowed itself down 3 different times to match the speed of the scout. So they could have overtaken him at any moment. And yeah, that's fishy, man. It's fishy.
This scene is such a weird scene, because this one breaks the entire episode into, oh, it's not real then. But they sort of don't ever mention it again. This is the thing that stops the episode in its tracks, and they kind of ignore it. This tells you it's all fake. You know what I mean? It's a bit too evidency, because you can't justify this any other way.
It is and it's not. If the Romulans knew he was going to defect and they wanted to place some kind of doubt in the Federation's mind, what better way than this? Make sure you don't overtake him. Try to make it look so when they analyze their sensor logs that you're not trying to overtake him. That way it looks like it's a setup. Make them doubt things.
I love that. The problem is, or just capture him. If he's really a traitor and you're letting him, and you make it look as if he's really on the Romulan side, just don't let him be just don't let him get there because he'll give secrets. Like, he still knows stuff about the Romulans that they don't want known. I mean, yes, they might be able to change all the command codes, but he still knows, you know what I mean? He's way more dangerous alive than dead. So,
yeah, true.
So I like your point, but I mean, he's too. This is why it does. This is why this is the thing saying no. He is a plant. He's 100% a plant, and it's.
But does he know he's a plant or not? That then becomes the question, I think.
Yes, but I still think they don't play that quite well in this episode. It kind of gives us too much that wiggle room when this is clearly evidence in one distinct direction, you know?
Yeah.
And also, did you notice how close Picard and Beverly are? It's like,
yeah.
That close-up is like,
well,
hello, Beverly. Welcome back to the ship. I've missed you. I'm very close to you.
Well, Geordi's like, I don't think they wanted to catch up. Yep. And then he asks her, do you think the wounds could have been self-inflicted? She's like, well, they were very terrible burns. But yeah, they definitely could have been self-inflicted, and that's that close-up of.
I like that. I love the pause on her acting there. Like sometimes breaking a dialogue down to a few beats it helps. Although since she also healed his burns without any sort of issue, there's not really a threat. It's like, ow, that hurt a lot. I'll inject morphine, and then she'll heal me when I get to the ship. So there's no, it's like the Kobayashi Maru. If you know you're not going to really die, there's no threat. So if you knew he was going to get healed. He could burn himself drastically because he knew he was going to get healed. Not really that doesn't really count as evidence.
Yeah, Devo77 has a funny comment. Keep your distance. Just don't look like you're trying to keep your distance. I don't know, fly casual. It's a perfect line.
Love it.
That's exactly what the captain was saying to the helmsman, because the helmsman doesn't know what the hell's going on at the time. He's just getting the orders from the captain who knows everything else.
Yeah.
But another communication with Starfleet. Oh.
Yeah. That was a great point.
Yeah. 21 hours till the base becomes functional.
Mm.
The USS Monitor and the USS Hood are coming to join you, but they will arrive too late to be of any assistance.
He's the only ship in the quadrant or sector.
Yeah. No one wants a war, but we'll give them to one if they really want. All Federation ships are now at yellow alert. And that made me think, like, all the ships in Earth space dock are now at yellow alert. It's like, that seems a little extreme. Anything within a certain distance of the neutral zone, maybe, but
I think it's a platitude. Like, he's not mentioning. Oh, just so you know, Picard, the botanists in Sigma 14, or like he's meaning relevant.
In the
ships.
Oberth class, yeah.
Yeah, every runabout currently being built. So I can take that as a more figurative.
But then, he calls in Data and says, I want you to get a Class 1 probe. Sensors on maximum scan. I want every area of Novana 3 covered. And then he stops him and says, I want you to keep a record of these events so that history will have the advantage of a dispassionate view. We're leading up to a war. We need to have this on file, for future people, whatever. And then he stops and changes the vibe again and says, so Data, what's the vibe of the crew? The crew is confident. Why do you ask? Essentially, they're concerned, but they're confident. He says, unlike King Henry, it's not easy for me to disguise myself and walk among my troops. So, love that. Because you see the captain, you're like, oh, everything's fine.
Yep.
My job.
Yep.
You don't get that vibe.
You don't have hot chocolate engineering when the captain's around.
Yeah, exactly. Not a band account puts in $1.99. Michael would have struck first with a Vulcan hello. Yeah.
She would have said, everyone shoot, Klingons, you hate Romulans, just shoot. And then it'd be blown up. It's like, well, shit. Michael, good job.
They appreciate force.
And now, Michael, you've got a war to the Klingons and the... You just had 3 wars here, Michael. Good job. It's just like you, though.
James McGill puts in $1.99.
Thank you.
Any official explanation on the Romulan head ridges? No, we speculated about that before, but there's no official thing, I don't think.
And also, Resurrected Starships is here.
Hey, Resurrected Starships.
That's cool. Welcome. I think they've said sort of a slight side that they want to be less like Vulcans. This is like a part of it. They actively did stuff to look less like Vulcans. They don't want to be like there's a different political reform and that's a trend and stuff. Obviously it's just to help to differentiate them to the audience, because if you Spock and not Spock and saying, we know that's coming, but it's just there's a bit of an anti-Vulcan sentiment in the Senate right now, and everyone's like, everyone get surgery. It is that easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that was the thing. But my comment on these 3 little sub scenes, Picard's acting here is very gentle. It's very internal. I like it. I like it a lot. And also, did they change? We just cut from season 2. Did they change his makeup or something? So he looks different here. Like he has a different vibe to the makeup in season 2. What do you think?
No, I have no idea. I never noticed a difference.
Just stood out to me here is a little bit more of a certain color. I don't know. It just felt a little bit odd to me. Like a little bit off.
Probably just the better proper lighting for the sets.
Totally possible. Totally possible. No, I like this as a good. Is actors being acting? I like it. Yeah. Cut to a new set. Probably not new from their context, but new set. It's not the battle bridge, Stewart. It's not the battle bridge.
No.
It has been every other time.
It's an interrogation room, which they use later in Drumhead as like the. Yeah, they use it a few times.
Is the lawyer room? Is that Drumhead? No.
Yeah, Drumhead. It's like a courtroom.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's the same kind of thing. It's like a Inquisition kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jarzia though throws in $5 Canadian.
Thank you.
I always figured the ridges were a side effect of genetic engineering. Romulans like to be in control, so I feel they engineered the Pon farr out.
Oh, I never said.
I would buy that. We actually talked about that once. That maybe they augmented their DNA with something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. I love that, getting the Pon farr out. That's great.
But I wonder if Pon farr is also partly societal.
I think it's because they repress their emotions. That's why. It's only once every 7 years.
Because it's a build-up and then expression. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
But also that implies that Pon farr is only there to create children. Because if you don't have children every 7 years, but can I just have sex in between that? Just because repopulation of the race? Or we just fancy it? Because the difference between blood boiling to just, do you want to try and have sex, babe? I'm not Pon farring. I know. I don't want to wait 6.5 more years, babe. Come on. I'm in the mood. No, you're not. That's Pon farr. You're 4.5 years out. Oh, yeah, what if Pon farrs don't line up? Because they wouldn't, would they?
Yeah, I don't know.
What if there were like a 3-year cycle? So one of you was like really into it. There was like, this is enjoyable from a clinical standpoint. Continue to do that, babe. I don't consider that. But I bet it's societal because Romulans clearly just go at it like.
Yeah. Well, not a band account puts in $1.99. Purebred with the Remans. Hey, there you go.
Don't like that. But that's just me.
All right, so yes, we're down getting the interrogation done, and Troy's here. She has lines. She says, "You're holding things back."
She has lines.
And he's like, "The base is all that matters." And then Riker goes full on bad cop.
Yep.
And leans in, and he's, "Tell me the strength of the Romulan fleet." Blah blah blah. He's like, I'm only a clerk."
Well, hold on, Stuart.
Well, your sector then. Your number of troops.
Let's do the second half of it together. You cue me in, I'll do the second half. I know the lines for the second half. So keep going, and I'll be the second half.
Second half of what?
Of this interrogation. So you keep going, and then ask one thing, and I'll say his line, and then we back and forth. I know his lines, Stuart.
I don't have them written down.
Well, just roughly what you said. It's fine.
Tell me the position and strength of the Romulan fleet.
It's not relevant.
That's the last thing he says. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I was just going to yell at you for a bit, but you didn't get the joke.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's fine. It's funny that you didn't get the joke. We'll say that. It's fine.
Because I have irrelevant written down here. But yeah, it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm just a clerk. They're like, okay, fine. What about your sector? The number of troops, the number of deployments, what admiral are you serving under? Blah, blah, blah. Yep. And then, yeah, he's just irrelevant. It reminded me of Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth.
Well, because you imagine how much he does and doesn't know, and obviously once we learn it later, is like what he's saying is, I'm here to tell you one thing: dudes, one thing. Leave me alone. They're like, we've got you, bitch. Tell us everything. There ain't no free meal that tells everything. And he's like, no, one thing. One. I like it. It's good.
It's good to see Riker go kind of full badass for a minute.
It's so in character as well. Like,
and then he just leans back. It's like, well, we're kind of at an impasse here.
Yep. He's like, well, what's the point then? Well, I'll walk out then. Yeah, done. Fine. Good scene.
But then we get a scene on the bridge, and there's a security communique from a Klingon ship, the Klingon ship Bortus. And it seems like a throwaway line almost.
Yep.
It says, Mr. Worf, can you handle that at the security station on deck 9?
Yep.
Worf leaves, and then the scene continues. It's like, oh, okay. There's other shit going on, I guess.
It's just enough.
Which season 1 they wouldn't have done that, and we would have been during our review said it would have been nice if there was one line that just cleared it up. So kudos to them. Eugene though throws in 1,000 rubles. Thank you very much. Ridges are fine as an effect of natural evolution. They left Vulcan after catastrophic nuclear war, experiencing genetic bottleneck and founder effect. It takes hundreds of years to produce weirder effects in isolated groups of humans. They had thousands.
Well, we saw Romulans in TOS. They didn't have thousands, but
yeah,
that's kind of the point. But
just a different breed of Romulan.
I mean, we saw them in Enterprise. Obviously, that's retconned into the past, so that was just. I mean, to be fair, you said before it makes sense to give spies, so they might have double engineered the people on the cruiser to look like Vulcans, just so that they would then hide themselves, just in case.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem. You got one instant of them looking one way, everything else is the other way, except the guy in Star Trek 3. And again, he was sent into the space actively, so it's a little bit different. So, for the most part, canon says they've always had the ridges, except the couple who've chosen not to. That's kind of the way you've got to take it. I mean, they even wear helmets to hide the lack of ridges, you could argue. And yeah, the setup's really good. It's gentle, it's enough, but it is there. Oh, and Elizabeth Smith, Stewart, PayPal.
Oh, Lizzie.
Missed most of this, but paying on the faith that would be an awesome rewatch. Keep the good work, guys, as always, Lizzie. Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
And keep doing a good job with your job, we hope.
Stephen Fathry puts in $10. I guess I missed that one. In the press conference yesterday, Kurtzman said that Romulans will be ridged and unridged depending on their region in Picard. I love that. I love that, actually. And if Worf shows up, he will have his classic look and not be a disco Klingon. Well, wow.
Yeah, I read that, and my only thought was, duh.
Yeah.
It's like, those things are all the common sense approaches. Like, you shouldn't get points for doing the appropriate thing. You know, it's like Discovery ships should appear in Discovery era, Picard and Picard era. Duh.
Was there any reference made to the ships? No.
Although Picard, Patrick mentioned about he liked one thing about this new ship more, is that they actually built the exterior and the interior together in one set. Because it's a much, much smaller ship. So they built like all in one, whereas the Enterprise, it's like, there's the end of the set. Which I thought was a bit weird because the set looks much nicer in TNG. But oh well.
Yeah. So anyway, they launched the Class 1 probe. We see it getting launched. And then Picard goes back to his ready room, and we get cutscene down to engineering. And this is the whole conversation about my gut says we should listen to this guy, says Geordi. What do you mean your gut? Well, you can't just rely on facts. Sometimes they lie. Well, facts can lead to an erroneous conclusion, but they can never lie. Geordi then says the evidence seems to indicate that he is a defector. I think we'll catch the Romulans with their pants down, which again confuses Data.
Yeah.
And I love this conversation though, because the way Geordi explains it, I never really considered that before. Like, these feelings that confuse us also help us fill in the missing pieces of the puzzle, because we as humans almost never have all the facts.
Yeah, by definition, almost.
It's just like a natural way for us to know when a situation is safe or unsafe. I love it. I love the description. I love the way Data. This is a great conversation, actually. Very well done.
I have a slight criticism, but it's more just it feels a little bit the same talk 3 times. Like, it's the same words in different ways.
It is.
So I got a little bit burned out on the conversation. I get why it's great, but I think it could have been refined a little bit. you know what I mean? It's like we get it long before data does, so maybe give us one less explanation. But yeah, I love the moral at the end there. I mean, the fact is, all I thought was when I'm editing video, I'm not automatically saying, "Oh, this edit is a bit too abrupt." I'm just seeing an edit, and I'm instinctively saying this is wrong. I've built an instinct, already had one when it comes to editing that is an instinct. It's it's a gut, it's a whatever, and it's really I mean, so much of what we see in here isn't conscious. So the gut reaction, even if it's not conscious, is just talking to somebody else. It's their micro expressions. It's their subtext. That is not. It's our gut, but it's our gut analyzing everything that we can't process. And it's again sad to see that, just like with the start, Gator hasn't got those things, and it's interesting to see how much of whereas season 1, season 2, he kind of just is Data. This episode shows him as a guy, as an entity who has a hard wall of coming up against this wall of I can't do that. I can't reach this level. Whereas I never got that sense really in season 1, season 2. It's kind of, I mean, is this ringing a bell? Can I get that vibe too?
No, not really.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
He said, I haven't got a gut. And there's not like I can build a gut. He's just like, I haven't got ability.
Yeah.
So it's weird to see him be so like.
But you could argue and say that the gut reaction is based on your experiences and your history. And the way you see other people deal with situations. It's more an extrapolation more than a gut feeling.
But it's like saying, computer, make me a random set of numbers. It's not random. It's a computer-generated algorithm of random. It can never really be random. So he can never, you know what I mean? So the yes and no. That's why it's interesting. I mean, we're just debating it, but that's why it's interesting.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you think? Super chat your thoughts.
But the scene ends with something suspicious. And then we go up to the ready room, and the probe has detected low-level subspace radio emissions, which are clearly artificial. It's also picked up ionization disturbances, which is indicative of cloaked ships that could produce that effect. But the surface shows only barren rock. If they could hide a base, sorry. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. They could hide a base. It might be possible, but the only way for us to know is to go down ourselves. There you go. So yeah, I mean, there's sketchy stuff going on. When I heard this, I was like, oh wow, I could just imagine some cloaked ships, delivering supplies to an underground facility or something. So.
Yeah, it's amazing how instantly just the visual of the lack of visual of seeing these cloaked things, like, oh, you're picking this big base, all these cloaked things. I was like, oh, that's so cool. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I like the way that Geordie says when he sees it, it's like, I guess we might have had the facts to finally back up my gut. Like, I love that he kind of pulls it all back together. And I appreciate, but it makes me laugh. Picard's like, so are these subspace anomalies naturally forming? It's like, no, subspace. There aren't subspace signals.
Yeah.
Naturally forming. You know what I mean? That seems like such an odd concept. You know what I mean? It's subspace. It's a different plane of existence. How much natural? I know there's like that anomaly of control at warp, and no one quite liked that concept at the time. But it just, from Dars, that seems a little bit weird. He's like, you should know better. The chances are no. But yeah, it's clearly. It feels like a trap at that point. Weirdly. I think the tone, the fact they suddenly find it, to me at the time, says it's a trap rather than it's a reveal. I think that's kind of how it plays too much in this part. That's almost too coincidental now.
I mean, in hindsight, yes, but I do remember thinking, oh, well, there might be something shady going on there. Okay. What's going on? It leaves it, because you can never go back and rewatch these for the first time, unfortunately.
Yeah. You
always know what's going on, so.
I'm kind of trying to, but yeah, always be unique, won't it?
Yeah. That scene's so awkward. He's down in the 10 forward taking a drink, and Data's just staring at him. Is there something I can help you with? Yeah,
that face, that is a practiced Data creep face, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let me zoom in for effect, ladies and gentlemen. This should be like someone's thumbnail for a video. Just like, Picard show, is it what you think? This face.
Yeah, that's definitely creeper face, and the lighting doesn't help either.
And it's because you get to see the red eyes, the inner light, that red just really. Ugh. Sorry, Brent.
Yeah,
Horrible. A horrible face, Brent.
but in conclusion, he's basically
In
seeing to
conclusion.
determine what his gut says about the Romulan.
Yes.
And the Romulan gets up and he's like, "Oh, so you're the android?
Mm-hmm.
I know a host of Romulan cyberneticists that would love to be this close to you.
And
I don't
Data's
find that
like,
to be particularly appealing, nor should you."
yeah, good.
And then he asked about Romulan ale, and he's like, "Well, we don't know much about your culture, so the computer needs whatever." And I'm like, "But Kirk had Romulan ale. That's okay."
Yeah, slight. Go back and watch the film that hasn't been. Go back and watch the film that hasn't been made yet. Thanks. Or to be fair, he would probably speak to the rules more than anyone else.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like, you should have said
But
that's illegal.
yeah, exactly.
For good
That would've been
reason.
great.
It's so good.
And he says, "We don't know much about your planet." And he's like, "That's a shame because I've visited over 100 different worlds, and none possess the raw beauty of Romulus."
Would have been great if Data said, "Oh, 100, how fantastic." In my 27 years, I've visited over 12,000 planets, and the guy's like, But have you been to Romulus? Oh, I have not. Exactly, the most beautiful. Because I didn't catch the 100. So that's funny now in retrospect.
Oh man, sorry, I'm developing a really sore, stiff neck. And just
Do you want to have some painkillers? Because actually, I can have them as well.
no, it's so Sylvia's grabbing me some. She's bringing them down. But he's like, I did what had to be done. So I'll never see the firefalls and the spires of my home and the certain sea, whatever. I didn't write it all down. And Data's like, well, maybe we can bring Romulus to you. And we get the holodeck. And he goes, I know this area well. Well, you can stay here as long as you like, says Data. He's like, no, this is no longer my home. End it. And what I got to make sure that what I've done, because that made him realize that he's never going to see his home again. What I've done must not have been done in vain. Tell Captain Picard that Admiral Jarok wants to see him. Dun, dun, dun.
And this is a legit nice reveal. This plays really well in the episode, in the thing.
Yeah.
And just to end off the conversation scene, damn, I forgot my point. I had a point. That's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh yeah, no, yeah. Again, he feels under securityed. I guess that Data's the security, but I was expecting to see a little cutaway of another security guy just sitting at a table, but it plays really strange. Like, oh, he's wandering.
Well, you would assume that the security guard would be standing by the door at 10 forward.
I just wish we'd seen him.
Maybe two of them. Yeah, I know.
So we see him at the holodeck. Great, but I wish we'd... I mean, it's a small thing, but we do see a reverse of Data, so it would be nice to have seen him there. Now, I find this bit a bit weird, the holodeck scene, because I doubt that the computer could extrapolate what it looks like to artistic realism based on his comments. He's like, wow, I know it so well.
It probably wasn't from that. I assume that they had a visual record from like another source, a Traveler or something.
I know, but I severely doubt if they have visual records of almost this detailed to the point that he's like, wow, it looks so... Like, they've never been to Romulus. They didn't know what Romulus looked like 100 years ago. Like, I find the scene so weird. Like, it should be a much smaller thing rather than this big, expansive, like, wow, you got Romulus perfect. How'd you do that? Well, we have spies on Romulus. Oh. Like, it's so easy and instant. It just feels weird to me tonally. It's like, look, we know what your home's in. There's your house. Look, your house has got a blue door, right? We know everything. Not Tomahawk. Forgot his name. So I just thought it was a bit weird. And also, 2 moons. There aren't 2 moons on Romulus. That's wrong. Just saying. 2 moons. Incorrect.
Yes. But we're back in communication with Starfleet. And they definitely confirm that he is Admiral Jarok.
Yep.
We must consider him an unreliable source of information. They mentioned the massacre of the Norcon outposts. And then Picard conveniently, well, I guess he was probably requested him, but he asked him to come in. And They have a great conversation. Convince me. I need evidence, and you've brought none, essentially.
Yes, no substantial, like actual full-on evidence. Yeah.
Yeah. A Romulan defector is a contradiction in terms, but Admiral Jarrah crossing the lines? And then they talk about the Norcon outposts again, and Jarrah says, well, one world's butcher is another world's hero.
It was called the something campaigns where I'm from.
Yes, the Norcon campaigns. Yeah. And then Picard's like, well, you see, that's the problem. I need some help. Are you prepared to help us overpower the B-type warbirds that we will encounter? You ever get the B-type?
Yeah, sure, Picard. Throw out shit you don't know about.
I will not risk my crew because you think you can dance on the edge of the neutral zone. You've crossed over, Admiral. You have to make yourself comfortable with that. But then there's something that kind of hits Picard a little bit hard, I think, because he says, do you have any children, Captain? A family?
Yeah.
And Picard's reaction is, this conversation's over.
And this is damn poignant to like last week with Wesley. Like this is like shit. Side to side, this is really interesting to watch, actually.
Yeah. And the Romulan's like, well, if you don't have children, then you've already sacrificed too much.
Yep.
There comes a time when a man looks down at the smile of his little girl, and he realizes that he must change the world, not only for her, but for all children. I do not want to destroy the Empire, I want to save it. I tried to tell them not to go to war, but they did not listen. So they put me in a distant sector because I had become a problem to them. I'll never see my children again, Captain. I can't help. And then Picard says, I can't help you unless I have unequivocal cooperation. So, great scene. Great scene.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a scene that I thought while watching it, that this is two actors acting the shit out of each other. You know what I mean? This is like two forces that just sat down for the day they shot this and just acted at each other. Just hardcore acting. You know? It's really well acted, this scene.
It is. 181 people watching. That's awesome, guys. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already, and make sure you're subscribed. And by all means, if you want to put in your 2 cents, ask us a question, or have a comment, we have to read the super chats, so send a super chat, and we will address that.
And just to give you context, guys, about 70% of our YouTube revenue, because the ad revenue has just dived every year for like 3 years now. So 70% of what we make is on super chats to help us keep going. So if you can give us $5, those mount up hugely, and we only need to raise about $60-80 a time alive to kind of keep the lights on, more to do better. We're not really there yet, so if we can get like $20 minimum, that'd be great. And with 181 people, that's brilliant. But we need those super chats too. But yeah, this is a really good scene, and the dialogue is so rich. You know.
And Livingston's not there. His fish is in the tank. I think this is after the fish died because somebody left the power off or something when they left the set. I forget what happened, but one of the fish died, and then they didn't have a fish for a while.
Or maybe he's chosen not to go to the neutral zone. He's like, I don't want to go to that neutral zone. No. But no, I mean, this scene, like I say, this is just a masterclass in everything, honestly. I mean, it's shot relatively blandly, but it's the close-ups that sell it. And I love the perspective of, you know, you're here. You are a traitor by every definition. You know, you might as well, if you want to protect everybody, you've got to, you know, you've got to give us your guys' nuke codes so we can destroy them before you destroy us with them. And I love the child line. It's so relatable. It's so innocent. It's so, you know, I kind of wish they'd said, but I guess they didn't want to go too far because they make him not relatable. It's like the Cardassian guy, which is a similar storyline with Kira. It's like, he's actually the butcher of all these things. He's actually, he massacred everybody. How can you relate to him anymore? And it kind of, you can't really redeem the guy at that point. This guy, he's this guy, this admiral, but they don't call him a war hero or a war criminal or a butcher. He's never given those titles, which in other episodes you would say, the butcher of da-da-da-da, you know, never implying he went too far, even though the way they're acting implies these battles were very vicious. It was a bit of a massacre, but they don't go that far because he has to be relatable still. I think it's a very careful, like, can't vilify him too much. Yeah, leaving no survivors is a massacre, but it's just the campaign because you can't leave witnesses. Different perspectives there.
I should leave some witnesses so they can spread the word. But Austin puts in $5 with no comment. Thank you very much, Austin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. But we're back in the conference room now, and I love the kind of triumphant vibe in Picard's voice.
Yeah.
He's provided us with strength and plans of the Romulan fleets. Geordi, he's going to give you full information on the engines, weapons, and cloaking systems of the Warbird-class starships. And Geordi's like, you see Geordi get really excited for a second.
He gets a massive erection. Like a science erection. All his inner spirit is like, yes!
Oh, yes. So he did spill the beans, essentially, now.
Although they do clarify specifically that the tech side will come later. He thinks more important is to strategic stuff now. Because this scene kind of plays a bit hollow. Just as hollow as when Kirk steals the cloaking device in TOS and it means nothing. Here, all the beans are spilled and none of them get revealed. You know what I mean? It feels very hollow because it doesn't mean anything. So I think the context, they kind of force that line saying, the tech stuff later, we're busy with the strategic stuff now. Thereby saying at the end, it's the same day. He never got to have that conversation. But this would have been a complete game changer. I mean, for the entire everything.
But Jarzia throws in a PayPal of $5. Thank you. This scene really showed that Romulans aren't just an enemy, but a people with their own hopes, dreams, and loved ones as well. It makes them a far more interesting and complex species.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt that this scene is such an incredible performance. That Jarrett can speak of family that way and strive for peace for a very, for lack of a better word, human reason gives hope that humans and Romulans could be allies someday. The other scene that made me think that was the Romulan commander and the chase being the only other commander that actually took the message they found in that episode to heart.
Yeah. No, I mean, three-dimensional baddies are good. We make antagonists, not villains. I mean, they are just people at the end of the day. They have children, they have wives, they have kids. I mean, he never mentioned his wife, though, which I kind of found surprising. It's all about his child, like... Because I unfortunately, I was picturing that... Oh, sorry.
At the end, letters to his wife and daughter.
Yeah, that bit. But I kind of, it would have been nice to mention his wife as well. Well, I'm kind of picturing that his wife and child are either both killed because of this or, like, put in prison. Like, he's basically ruined their life, and I kind of wish he'd said... And I'm sorry that I put my wife and kid through a life of torment, but hopefully the next government will appreciate what I've done. They kind of gloss over that a little bit, because I'm sure they got really badly roasted for his betrayal. Well,
Well, Jonathan Bell is here, and he puts in $5. He says, almost in time for the ending. Have fun while I step into the past. He's going to go check out this from the beginning, so he'll see this after the fact.
Well, thanks, Jonathan, and hello, Jonathan.
From the future, hello, Jonathan.
It's now 6 a.m. for you, wherever you are, because you fell asleep and then you woke up and then you kept watching, or you had us on repeat for some reason. And Stuart, 179 people watching, which is brilliant. But
that's awesome.
Do you think?
Like...
Yeah, we got 154 likes. Do you think we can hit 179 likes with people? Because people come and go.
Yes.
So I want to see everyone click like. I want to see the sudden surge of likes. 154 right now. You know you haven't clicked it. I know you haven't clicked it. So...
Uncloak your like. Hit the button and uncloak your
Boom! Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
All right, so they're entering the neutral zone in direct violation of the Treaty of Algernon now.
Yes. I love the single-minded purpose here. Like there's a certain resolve in all their faces that is not pleasant. It's not happy. It's professional, and you can feel... Like, you feel a tension in his shoulders, Mr. Picard. It's good.
But they get to the planet and they see that the signals are moving in an orbital path with an 800-kilometer apogee. There's no base, there's no weapons, no signs of any life at all. Of course, Picard yells that when the guy comes on the bridge. Like, slaps him down a bit.
Although I did think that if the thing's cloaked, it'd be designed to hide scans. So when they say that, I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. It's cloaked.
Well, Data says a line about if it was a cloaked base on the surface, it would have a visible distortion.
Which I also found disingenuous because you have more power to cloak on a planet and stars aren't moving on a planet, so it would be more effective. And if
It should be
everything
more effective because the landscape's static. Exactly.
And also, if everything shimmered, then why aren't we seeing the Romulan come in with a shimmer or leave with a shimmer? I mean, it left with a shimmer.
Because it's in the implication is that it's in the atmosphere, and the atmosphere would be distorted in some way because of the cloaking field.
But then surely you just never cloak on a planet then, because it's just completely pointless. Because if you beam down to a planet, look, oh, I think it's over there. Why? Well, the entire mountain is shimmering. So I assuming that's the first thing they've designed a thing against. So it feels a little bit disingenuous, that line. Because I'm sure they'd have resolved that by now.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $2. Oh, 150 is great. 200 would be spectacular. Hashtag make Jeff pay. But then, yeah, he's confused. Admiral Jarrek's confused. He says an entire legion was assigned to this sector.
I like that.
And then the realization kind of hits everybody. Picard's like, they fed you false information to test your loyalty. They let you escape with an arsenal of useless secrets.
What a word, arsenal. That's a strong word to use in that scene.
Yeah. And it's really impactful. Like, you can see on the guy's face, he's like, oh shit, I was used. Like, I just gave up my whole life essentially for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a great scene.
And the acting by Patrick Picard is also so leveled because he's
Patrick Picard.
Yeah. Because he's this. It's hard to read his face. What I get from it is that he's disappointed, but also sad for the guy. Like, he's frustrated by what he's doing. He's tense because of what he's about to do, but also he's just disappointed and sad for the guy. Like, there's a sense of just, oh, you poor shit.
Yeah.
And you might have fucked us all too.
I want to address two things in the comments.
Okay.
Pedar Ruan says Bird of Prey and Golden Pike Park wasn't distorted. It's because it's a smaller ship. Even though that one had a visible shimmer in space, it had a less advanced cloaking device. Mm-hmm. And Devo 77 said, remember the holographic duck blind? Yes, but that's such a small area to cloak. I assume the larger the cloak to include a base would give a visual distortion. Smaller ones, not so much. And a Bird of Prey is not very big either.
No, and I would assume though that to counter that you'd know the base was big, and to want to cloak it, you'd actually just you'd design a better cloak that took more power, but you'd build it to design,
or build it underground and just have the part sticks up smaller.
That's actually, I like that. Or just build underground, just build a holographic, like have a holographic floor, like only one layer. That's a good point. I mean, it's inconsistent certainly, but yeah, small things don't need to shimmer. Plus, the duck blind cloak is not the same cloak as like a big Romulan Derelict's cloak, because they can use it.
Yeah.
So it's not the same cloak content, which is weird but true.
That we talked about that in our Treaty of Algernon episode, which I don't know if we ever filmed it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But then they say, "Get us the hell out of here."
Yep.
And I love this shot where they turn the Enterprise around.
Cool. Yeah.
It's an amazing shot.
The Enterprise is well lit. That's a nice looking Enterprise.
Yeah. Then 2 warbirds decloak.
Dum dum dum. And I always remember 3 being here, and I'm always wrong.
Yes, I never remember 3. So.
Okay.
But yeah, then they start pummeling the Enterprise essentially.
Although, did you notice there's no actual shield bubble? It just hits like a flare. They didn't for some reason there's no shield effect. It's really weird.
Well, that's why it goes to the next line, I think, because they're like, this is just a tap on the shoulder. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here talking about it. So it was more like warning shots, I guess.
Well, not by the... I mean, I can't necessarily agree with that. Although there is one frame where it's clearly like directional, but, they didn't do the full effect. I'm sure they kept the original version, which was not the full effect. But yeah, they're so aggressive. I mean, it is like a 1 to 100 within the first 1 second. It's very visceral. And boy, the tension, I mean, you feel it. It's palpable. It's like, oh, shit.
Ow, my neck. That's okay. Anyway, so they're hailing us, and guess who pops up? Somebody we don't know because we haven't seen him yet. Oh wait, we have, but we do these out of order.
Oh, it's the guy from Babylon 5.
Right, Commander Tomahawk.
He's very memorable, isn't he? He should be in it more.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah. Are we gonna sit here staring at each other across the neutral zone? That's not this fun, but he's very evil and vindictive in this one. And later he kind of played a little bit softer. He's more like much like Shran was in Enterprise. Kind of get the friendly vibe.
Well, it's vindictive because it's the I win, fucker.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it's so much glee. It's venomous glee. It's
Mhm.
I mean, he is so palpable. Like, I did it, did it. I'm gonna kill all of you slowly. Maybe, who knows? Whatever I feel like, because you're prisoners now. Yeah, it's great. It's good, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not villainous. It's very nice. Like, it's not just villainy. It's not evilly. It's nice. It's nuanced.
Smug.
Yes.
Because Ryan K says I think he's smug, and that's exactly a great word for it. But what are the cloaked signals? Oh, they're cloaked satellites studying for archaeological research. Well, surely you don't need to cloak your satellites. And just kind of the smart ass look on his face, like, yeah, well. Dreamer out there puts in $2. Rest in peace, the great Andreas Katsoulis.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
That's the actor.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, long since passed away. No, I love the cheeky. I love the cheeky look on his face, like, oh, it was a satellite. You came here for a satellite. I'm gonna kill you all. It's great. Good stuff.
And Picard's like, well, we'll be going then, without even an apology. Yeah, if an apology will do, I'll offer it. I'm afraid it won't.
Love it. Love it.
Dick. He knows he has him by the short and curlies at this point.
They're also playing word politics because Picard knows he's got something. Because Worf already tries to say, "Sir, shall I?" No.
Yep.
Because he wants to play this game. They want to see how much he knows. Because if you just laid the trap and sprung it, there'd be no information gained. So it's like a little bit of a each. Well, I kind of would have loved it though. I kind of wish I'd done like a fan edit of this. Maybe I should one day where he's like, "Not so fast, Captain." Cut back even one further layer and more ships decloak. Ah, no, one more layer. And it keeps going back. It's like 7 layers of ships decloaking. It's like, and you cut to the top, it's like 50 ships. It's just constant. That would be a fun spoof. I should make that.
Yes. So he says, return the traitor and surrender your ship. We will display the empty carcass of your ship, and it'll be a sign for all the glory of the Romulan Empire and not to betray your people.
Yes. Yeah, ripple information out in the database too. We'll learn all the secrets. Which is fun because it parallels what they did earlier, or they tried to do earlier.
Mm-hmm. But I love how he displays, it says, after we've stripped your ship for parts, we will display its empty carcass.
Yep.
As a victory. That's just awesome.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
And Picard's like, now, Mr. Worf. Dun, 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 dun. You get the musical cues. There's at least 3 ships in this scene, but I assume there's probably 4 birds of prey. There's probably not one on the other side of the Enterprise that we can't see.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
But they're way out of scale. Unless they're the big greater birds. We won't get into that.
But is this almost iconic little moments?
It's so great.
It is, yeah.
I just love that. I love that the tinge of the Klingon music before the decloak happens. It's like, what's going on? It's barely noticeable, but
yep. Yeah. No, it's good. Although really, I think someone said in our pre-chat that this should have been replaced with Vorchers in Remastered, because this, even if they were, well, again, they must be cavorts, but really in the literal sense, we've only ever seen birds of prey, Burrells. This means nothing. Like,
yeah,
this is not at all a threat at all. So you go, okay, cavort, sure. But I was really expecting. I was expecting more Dodos to show up. But yeah. Like I say, I want to make a spoof scene.
Jane Roberts says a Klingon hello, LOL.
Yeah.
I love Tom Walk's face, and he's like, "Wow, looks like we're gonna be bugging out." Bye, Picard.
Yep.
And then Picard, extend my thanks to this Federation and my personal gratitude to the Klingons, Mr. Worf. The Federation, whatever.
It's an extremely quick resolution, but it's one of those things where, okay, fine, fuck you too, leave. Like, there's nothing else, like, the world game's been done, there's no point playing. Because you can also imagine that Klingons, every single gunner has his finger on the trigger.
Oh, they were all itching, exactly. They're like, ah.
I bet you the Romulan guy's like, well, if I do stay, this will involve violence. And I love Picard saying, I mean, you might win still, but I'll kill you first. we will destroy, like, we're all, your bridge, 3 ships. Like, do you want to die? Because you will die. I'll die too. It's fine. You'll die too. I love it. It's good.
Yeah. Jarazia puts in $5.
Thank you.
Picard is such a boss in this scene. Tomalak never got even for being outmaneuvered here.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Picard's like, well, get us out of here, number 1. And then we get a cut. They're walking down the hallway. The door's already open.
Look at the guy's face there before we cut to that. Look at the guy's face. He is like, everything is dead to him. He has. I mean, he's a good. And this is when it's very abrupt.
And his eyes were red. I'm wondering if that was like done later, or if that was just because of the makeup. He'd been wearing it so long. It's like, no, but it looks good. It looks good. Keep it like that. My eyes are irritated, but it's fine.
I know you hate everyone right now, but we'll give you an extra $50 if you stay until past the expiration date on your makeup, so it looks even better. It's like, okay. Yeah.
So we get into the quarters, and you can tell something's up because they walk in. The door's already open. There's a lady in blue, which I assume is medical personnel in there. And they walk in, and he is dead. He ingested a flotisome chip. And there is a letter to his wife and daughter, but he must have known it was impossible to deliver. Well, perhaps one day, with more brave men like him, there will be a day of peace where we can take his letter home, which I think also might tie into Picard. Maybe.
I mean, it's a very it might be like a reference, but I mean, it's such a specific thing. I can't imagine it would, because also he would have sent it during Nemesis. I mean, there's been decades to send the message.
Sure enough. But Eugene throws in 500 rubles. Jarok had to die, otherwise there would be a lingering question. Was it all genuine, or was it a smart ploy to sell him as a double agent? Dun dun dun. Well, I assume they wouldn't have him in Starfleet. They would probably put him in one of the Federation resort jails. Oh, stream complete.
Okay, it's reconnected. Hopefully it won't be long enough.
Oh, looks like we're back.
Okay.
OBS did a thing again. Sorry, guys.
It did. I think though he's probably in the same, or next to the same, or now in the same cell as Maltz was, or would have been.
Yeah.
That's where you put a political prisoner that sort of helped you.
So they would have a Romulan dictionary.
Yeah.
Because we got the Klingon dictionary because of Maltz. There's a nice thank you in the beginning of that. So. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. It's a fantastic episode. But yeah, you're right. He did have to die.
But how abrupt do you think this ending was? Because I was kind of like hitting the like, it's like a wall suddenly came up. I was like, oh, dead, gone. Oh, you know, it kind of hit me as a weird. What do you think?
Yeah, well, compared to the rest of the episode, it was definitely a very quick ending. This could have definitely been a 2-parter, to be honest. But I like the way I do kind of like the abruptness of the ending. The whole game of chess, and that leads back to the game of chess with the Romulan, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because in chess, I was I think like 5 or 6 moves ahead. Picard clearly did that with having the Klingons.
No, good catch. That's exactly right. Yeah.
But it would have been actually kind of cooler if another warbird or two decloaked.
That's what I mean.
Kind of further back, because they have the upper hand in this case.
That's the joke I was making, and they just keep decloaking because they keep saying, but I knew that you knew that I knew that you knew that you knew that I knew that it would be a trap. So I thought I would it'd be that joke. I thought it would be funny at the end. If it's a 2-parter, I kind of wish this was a 2-parter compared to the one we got with Duras, which I think is not particularly good as a 2-parter personally. Like it lags a lot. I think this story maybe add on that. Maybe do a double reveal where there was actually a base there, because the best way to hide a base is tell them there's a base and then prove there's not a base. Like say have it underground with maybe they're testing the new cloak. You know, how cool would that have been if at the end of this episode for part 2 they walk away, cuts Tomalak, and we're like now on a bridge, and it like he says, hail the base. I'm like, what? And we do a shot, and we like, if it was CG, you'd cut inside the base, and there's this massive facility building the Deredexes. Like you see heads there, and he's like, they bought it. Like how cool would that have been as a 2-parter? Like the Romulan War begins. Ooh, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm very satisfied with the way this one ended. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
it was abrupt, but it was a good. I love the game of chess vibe for sure.
Well, he killed himself. I mean, you can't get more abrupt than dead. So it fits the thematic thematic thing. So yeah, so guys, think about if you want to super chat us by the end. Like I said, we could do another 30, 20, 30 bucks. So if you want to put your review scores as a $5 super chat, and if you can get 6 of those, it's been a decent live. Not great, but we had a great one on Friday, so average it out. But 165 people watching. Stuart, what was your closing review on this? And now we are going to now you can be full spoilers.
Awesome episode. As I said earlier, one of my favorite of all of TNG, I think. So well acted, so well cast, so well written, so well acted. There's so much going for this, so many layers, a lot of characterization. You get to see sides of like Riker that you don't normally see. I mean, Beverly and Deanna aren't really in it. They do get a few lines though, at least.
They get a function. I mean, at least they use the characters when appropriate. Like, they are functionally used.
Yeah.
Which is good. They're not there. They're just not as relevant as they could be, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Worf. Same thing, in essence. Because it's an admiral versus captain. It really is those two people having their, so it makes sense.
It's such a layered, well done episode, and like I said, very dense, not only with dialogue, but with just well written material. Yeah, the ending was a little abrupt, but I think it played out fairly well, and just kudos to the acting in this. It's fantastic, and you get to see some cool ship shots, which I love. Seeing the new scout class Romulan ship was awesome, and the close up of it as it kind of drifts by is awesome.
Like, these are legit impressive model shots. Like, actually impressive. Really, like, wow.
Yeah,
this is good.
So for all of season 2,
3, 2, 1.
This will be an 11 for season 2.
Oh, so it's better than Measure of Man then?
Yeah. Different way, but yes.
What?
I don't know. I can't really rank it for season 3 right now because we haven't started. So
I don't even know what's in season 3.
We're just going to skip that.
Okay.
But for all of TNG, this is going to be I'm going to give it a 9. It definitely deserves the upper echelon spots. There are better episodes, but it's definitely one of the ones that you want to go back to and revisit.
But as you said a minute ago, really, this is a top tier of its kind. But it doesn't necessarily factor into one that a style of storytelling that you like as much. I mean, this is almost flawless as an episode. But it might not be your 10 out of 10 for enjoyment because you like different things. You know what I mean? So that I think that clarification is important. Are there any real flaws in this episode? Really?
Not that I can think of offhand.
You know what I mean? So it is absolutely top tier, but your own personal opinion comes in. We'll give it a review. So 9 out of 10 for all TNG, but just so we have a number there for season 1, for season 2, like in comparison to those, because that's our context. What if this was a season 1 episode? What would you give it?
Oh, 10.
Okay. And for season 2?
9.8.
Okay.
No, maybe that's too much. 9.5.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No. Yeah. So my overview. I mean, I just sort of gave it away, but yeah, it's really good, and it's amazing how little happens and yet how invested you are. Like I said, cheap can often be better. Less money, more creative, good storytelling, clever storytelling, because that's super important. And even slow storytelling, like they're not rushing through the lines. There's a lot of lines, they're not rushing through them and not wasting time. It's a very crafted episode that I think comes together in the edit, comes together in the VFX and the acting. He was the best choice for this. It could have been more layered, but the simplicity of what this guy's trying to do is so important that it's like I'm just here. I'm good. What do you want from me? Like, that simplicity is so important. That innocence, weirdly enough, the innocence of what he's trying to do is important. Yeah, no, it's great. It's really, and guys, put in your scores right now. Put out season 3 if you want, but we can't really talk about that yet. So for me, I think all TNG it's got to be a 9. Absolutely top 10%. But I think of its type, it's almost a 10. in the sense of like it's just so different to other things. So I think when we get to the end of all 7 seasons, we should look back at our top and say like, are there any 10s? And what? Because 10 is a definitive number, you know.
Yeah.
Like Measure of Man wasn't 10 for us because it has some little problems like the scale shots with the CGs. And yeah, this absolutely a 10 out of 10 for season 1. I would agree. 9.5 for me out of season 2. But yeah, this was season 2 be the best one so far. So good for them.
Eugene throws in 500 rubles and says 10 out of 10. Acting, story, character, interactions. This is what TNG is all about.
Yeah. And making the villains not villains.
Yeah.
That's also what TNG is about. Not being as one-dimensional, not being as... we're villains.
The best villains are the ones that think they're doing things for the right reasons. And, you know, it's definitely the case here.
Exactly.
But Jarzia throws in $5 Canadian. 10 for season 3. 10 for TNG, 10 for Trekyards. Glad you guys liked it so much, as it's one of my favorite episodes, or it's my favorite episode of the entire show. Wow. Great balance of drama and intrigue.
Yeah.
Cool. So those are 2 of our super chat ratings. We got a 10 out of 10 from Dan23, 2 out of 10 from Laughable Larry. That's really low. The Puridian puts an 8 out of 10. Let's see here. 9 out of 10 from Raj. Maybe this is a 10. Question is, what's a better episode?
Again, styles. I mean,
yeah.
I like time loopy ones. You know.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, ones that are clever in their own. I mean, this is not sci-fi-y very much. You know, this could, if you change the distances, this could be a modern day Russian parallel. Just have the distances be smaller.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said at the beginning. It's a tale as old as time. You have a defector trying to do things for the right reasons.
So it really isn't very Star Trek-y. But the characters are there. They are so 10 out of 10. You know, they are not playing season 1 generic Picard or Riker. So that's what keeps it Star Trek.
Yeah. Jeff Jacobs gives it a 9.25 out of 10 for all of TNG. Definite top 10. Dreamer 10 out of 10. Brandon D 10. I can watch this episode any day. 8 out of 10 for Captain Casey Stewart. Let's see what we got here. We got another PayPal from Jarzia. And it's $5 PayPal. The ending of this episode is seriously tragic, but I do like that Picard, even after everything that happened in the episode, still believes peace can be possible. That, to me, is Trek idealism at its best.
Yep. And you know what? I'm going to be... I was quickly through a top 10 TNG episodes, and it's amazing what Variety says, because some of them really aren't. It's weird. And then number 1 is In Our Light. And this one's better than In Our Light. You know...
Yeah. For Star Trek, for sure.
I mean, this tells a better message. This, you know, it in a lot of ways. This is like a grander theme, you know, but they're different. They're so different, so they're not comparable. I would prefer to watch this one, certainly. Yeah. Okay, well then, yeah. Who wants to be the final super chat? That is the last question. We hit the exactly 2 hour mark, which we keep going over. So good job, us. 147 people watching, 174 likes. We did hit the 174 likes. Well done, Stuart. We did it. And, yep, final super chat or 2 would be great. As I said at the start, guys, this is my, background 1.5. The last thing was taken down. This is now a new set of paper. I've got, like I said, about 60 ships pre-rendered. My idea is before Picard to do another live, promote it properly, and have a list of all ships pre-booked, in a sense. You guys commission them for the wall. Have a list so you guys can see. And hopefully, you guys... I think I'm going to put, like, Sam's list that I hope you guys commission. Some side ships I really like, because, 50 ships is not enough for this wall. It needs, like, 100. So things like Vulcan ships and Andorian ships like this were not asked for. And so hopefully you guys will help us with that as well. And fill out the wall with really unique ships that only we have access to for, like, Voyager and Enterprise and stuff. And some other sci-fi, like we have more Stargate ships. Who knows? So I'll probably do it just before Picard, and then I can then spend like a whole day putting them on the wall. Twitch will probably do another live, just so you can enjoy that process. Hopefully that sounds good to everyone. And then you can be a fly on my wall while I'm a fly on your wall, Stuart. As I often am during your lives. But come on, guys. Final super chat. Final super. Who wants to win that super chat trophy?
Super chat trophy.
Why you laugh at me? I know funny. No. So I think maybe the next one is family. I sort of tried doing time order. I think family, which I haven't watched. I've only watched that once. But that's gonna be super poignant. It's the vineyard. It's all family stuff. So I think that might be the next one. So that might be tomorrow. Well, we haven't discussed it yet, but I'm trying to think of what other ones. I've done family. I've done Iborg and Descent thumbnails. But I'm kind of keen just to watch the TNG ones. I mean, I've seen Voyager more than TNG. I know all the Borg stuff in Voyager, like, at the back of my head. Yeah. So I'm more keen just to rewatch the Picard stuff for Picard.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Dreamer out there puts in $2.
Thank you.
Jarzia throws in $2.
Yeah.
Can I drink Romulan ale out of the trophy? Well, you just won it, so sure.
There you go.
Last Dreamer out there wants to throw in another one to up you, to scoop it out from under you, but
it's a battle of wills. No, it isn't. Yeah, so guys, 139 still. Thanks so much, and tune in tomorrow, same time. We'll let you know which live as soon as we know. And have a great day.
That's right.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye guys.